Hey, peeps, it's Danny here with another investing video. So I kind of, well, last week, I'll just be honest, I kind of got a little bit of cold feet on Zim, so I sold most of it last week and then pretty much the remaining of it this week. So it did go up a decent amount today, so there was a little bit of money left on the table. But I did get some pretty huge returns. That was kind of the first slide. That's kind of a combination of a taxable and non-taxable account. They're kind of about equal weight, taxable, non-taxable. Um, then basically I started buying NLY. So it's a mortgage, a REIT. I think it is favorable to the current economic conditions. Has over a 12% yield. So I started buying that. I sold some calls on it to pick up a little bit last week. And obviously, it did crash today, so I bought a lot more. I was surprised that it kept crashing. It's coming to ex-dividend on 9:30, so established some pretty huge positions in there. So in the got multiple taxable accounts, which it should come to about $3,000 in dividends for the taxable accounts. And then also have a non-taxable, which is probably over 1,000 as well. So, I'm taking, 4,000 plus probably 4,500 in dividends from that every um every 3 months. So I mean that's pretty solid. It basically kind of goes. My bigger thing obviously is Zim is cyclical. I would like to get some more profit on that. It just, I don't know, that strike thing, I just got cold feet on it, and the index is slipping a little bit. Plus, there are so many companies signing so many containers. I mean, it would have been nice if I had held out till today, and sold then. I definitely would have made, a lot more money, but it is what it is. I got cold feet, and obviously I took a pretty huge profit. You can see some of those numbers in the um, past 5 or 6 months. That's mostly Zim in various forms of buying and selling it. So I kind of just got to a point too where I was kind of looking at my goals, and I took quite a lot of risk on Zim at certain points to get to my goals, but kind of looking at it now where I'm sitting, I want to have 200,000 in non-taxable accounts averaging over 10%. Looking at where I'm sitting, the sort of numbers I can expect, that goal is pretty easily achieved by the end of 2025 without a lot of risk, in my opinion. So obviously I don't really track that goal for my non-taxable, but and I don't know, once I hit that in my taxable accounts, I'm not sure what it will be. I may start even, you know, filling in with some S&P index just to, not be so crazy on the taxes. But I do want to hit that. That's my goal of having that 20,000 income base in taxable per year. And then, what I do after that. I know it's kind of a dirty, ugly way to invest for taxes, but on the other hand, you're paying the taxes up front. You hold the S&P. For example, yeah, you're not paying a lot of tax, but when you sell, you're creating a big tax bill. Now, I guess in kind of a situation, if you could maybe find a more tax advantaged standpoint to sell in. But on the other hand, you get to that point, how do you know that S&P isn't down 30% on the year? You don't, and that's the kind of thing is that dividends, yeah, it is, you are paying a lot constantly, but the thing is you're never getting a ginormous tax bill because you're paying it constantly. Um, so Anyway, I'm pretty happy with everything. Obviously, I guess I went a little risk off, so to speak, a little early with Zim. Although I am watching it, I would actually like to get a re-entry on Zim. Uh, I just personally, I want to get in sub 20. Whereas, all this excitement with the IRL and stuff, and I don't know, it just, especially with the indexes slipping a little bit, it just was a little much on me. That idea. I should have, held on a little longer, obviously, in retrospect. But on the other hand, with all those options going off, I have, definitely seen on a Monday where you can get a huge drop. Probably shouldn't have thought that it might do that, but I was watching it for a huge drop, so um, I had some concern that there could be a big drop today, and obviously went very much the opposite direction. It's up almost 8% today, so I should have held it, but on the other hand, I had some good reasons to sell it, so I'm not gonna kick myself because I've done very well and advancing toward my goals. And I think NYL actually, because it pays every 3 months, it's completely in line with my goals. I think it's tends to get a little more volatility, tends not to have a good rep exactly. I personally find it to be very stable long term. I've never held it in this quantity, but I've held several, probably held like 6 or 7 thousand for many years. So it's kind of actually been a mainstay for me, and I've never regretted it. So it's kind of weird that it's the one I got into so big, but on the other hand, there were some reasons for that. And then in my basically my obviously the ones that this sort of chart that's going on now, those are my taxable and non-taxable, but those aren't margin accounts. I can't throw options on there. But on the other hand, I'm going to roll through. Maybe if it gets some price moving up because I got in at a fairly decent price, maybe I can sell some of it and get other stuff. Although I probably would want to maintain a pretty big position because I'm kind of starting to get to a point where I'm kind of trying to just reach an optimal build, But on the other hand, always open to opportunities, so we'll see. But in my interactive brokers, you can see I threw a call on there. So basically, you're talking about 13% yield plus throwing the call on there. Basically, it takes it to yeah, no, not basically. It does take it to 20% yield, plus that some of it's on margin. It takes it a little bit above 20% yield. So I'm getting a little bit above 20% yield there. To get that, I had to go pretty far out to December. I mean, the one weird thing I was thinking about it is, okay, what if the share price goes up? They do an early call on it, and then I don't even get the dividend, which but on the other hand, my share price is pretty good, 20.71. So they're calling it 21. That gives me upside of 29. So it would just give me, a pretty quick and a lot of capital to redeploy. Maybe not the most ideal, but on the other hand, you get in, you do that. That's essentially 20. Well, it's essentially like getting, you know, um, probably let's not annualize it. Let's just put it this way. It's probably like getting 5 or 6% upside within a handful of days. And then it would, give me options to, do this sort of thing again with another dividend stock, you know, or, if they're calling it based on the price, I can maybe even wait for a good reentry on here. So, I mean, there were some thoughts maybe I shouldn't sell the call, but it felt good to me. I think that they're selling it at that high price. I think that they're probably not going to do an early exercise on it. I think this thing could move. I just think that with the with the rate environment and things, because NLY long term, I mean, recently it's kind of, been, in this range. But I mean, it was previously, in the $30 to $40 range. So I don't think that it was actually even higher, but I don't know, what the possibilities of it are. But I think it's entering a favorable setup. So I think it's good short term. Plus, I'm not gonna say that I don't think this thing could, you know, not go up quite a lot. I think it could. Not that I believe that it will, but I like what I see here. Maybe a lot of people don't, but I mean, I think this is gonna work for me. It's a little bit of a blunt way to play, I guess I should say, but I'm kind of a blunt investor. I just, like if it was a football game, I run it up the middle a lot. If I'm successful running up the middle, I just run it up the middle, and that's kind of what this one is. Not a lot of cleverness on this. I just think it's going to be effective. Anyway, so that's that, and it may be the end of this for a long time because I'm committed to not making videos if I don't have something to make a video on, and depending what happens, there may not really be a lot to make videos on for a long time, but we'll see. See where it goes. All right, till next time, peeps. Hope you have a good one.